Let's take just a quick moment, actually, and stretch a little bit. I know some people were up late last night. No, stand up, Bill. There you go. Kids, you too. Come on, let's move around. Sorry, only got about 10, 15 minutes left. You can do it. All right, good job. Sit down. You're good. So, thought I'd start today with that reading from Dan Barry, bottom of the 33rd, excuse me. It's hard, your brain sort of blocks that out a little bit. And particularly those lines, why do you keep playing and why do you stay? Why do you keep playing and why do you stay? You see, it seemed to me to be a real shame not to use this reading again. We enjoyed it so much on Baseball Sunday, and baseball deserves its due even on Kickoff Sunday. In fact, particularly today, because you may not know this unless you follow the Pawtucket Red Sox. I know Donna does, or a few others here. The teams who played in the longest game, the Pawtucket Red Sox and the Rochester Red Wings, are playing in the semifinals for the International League Championship as we speak. Or later this afternoon. It's game 5, I believe, is what we're up to now. So that's kind of cool, right? But that's not really the reason why we're reading it today, except maybe for some mojo reasons. The real reason we are looking at this story and at this reading again has to do with that question. A question that can be asked at a long, long baseball game, but one that can be asked of us here at church in September, starting off another year together. Why do we keep playing? Why do we come? And why do we stay? I assume that you all know that you don't have to come, right? The days of mandatory church attendance are about 2 centuries in the past, so we're okay there. But we still do. And just as with those ball players and fans sitting there in the dark at McCoy Stadium, our reasons for doing this reside deep down inside us. We are drawn here to the Eliot Church, sometimes as players and participants, sometimes as visitors, just fans of the community. And sometimes we run the concessions, don't we, Carrie? We run the concessions like the RE brunch. And sometimes we are called upon to stand in the midst of the congregation like barkers, to call people to consider not peanuts and Cracker Jacks, but our faith and how we live it in our community and how we live it outside our doors. That's right, sometimes people get up and rise to make announcements about committees. And just like those fans, we can answer that we come here on a beautiful Sunday morning because we are bound by duty, because we aspire to greater things, because we are loyal, because in our own secular way we are celebrating communion and resurrection and possibility, and I hope in our own sacred ways too. Now perhaps the answer that Dan Barry gives is inadequate for you. It was for him. We said it in our reading. Maybe it doesn't quite encompass everything for us. Maybe we have something to add from the depths of our hearts. Maybe we recognize, for example, that our roads go ever on, over rock and under tree, by caves and where the sun has never shone, by streams that never find the sea. And perhaps knowing that, we have decided to come to this place to seek out fellow travelers, people to share our road with, to support and to be supported by. The fact is, no matter how else we define our reasons for being here, and it's different for each of us, we have all, in some sense, been called or invited into this place. And we have all accepted our invitation. Now, for some of us here today, that invitation was the still small voice, wasn't it? For some of us here today, we thought about coming to church for years before we entered the door. Maybe we called. Maybe we checked the internet. Maybe we went on Facebook. Maybe we walked back and forth in front of the door for a while, deciding whether we were really going to come in. And for other people in this room, that voice of invitation came from someone else in this room. But either way, we accepted it. And so far, since we're here, we found no reason to leave. Right? We've thought about it, I'm sure. Many of us. We've thought about leaving the party. We may have even looked around for our coats and our kids down in the basement. But something has kept us here. Maybe it was that last bite on the way to the door. Or maybe it was that conversation while we're holding our kids, or holding our coats and looking for our kids. Or both. While we're trying to leave. Something happened that made us think that maybe it isn't quite time to go. After all. Still, other people walk by, right? See, I have the advantage of standing up here every week, or down there, and getting to look out the windows. I know you never look out the windows because everything's so cool up in front of the church. But from where I stand, I can look out the window and I have a good shot of all these sidewalks that go up past the church. And I can assure you that there are people who walk by us sitting in here every Sunday who probably don't really understand what we do or why we do what we do. And there are others, even friends of ours, who may see in our attendance today some charming, harmless eccentricity that makes us a little more interesting to be with. But you know, it has always been that way. It has always been that way for people who have chosen to examine their faith in the context of a community, in the context of a congregation. It has always been that way for the people who came to the party. In our reading today from Luke, a wealthy man gave a dinner for his friends, threw a party. His friends were people from the fashionable set. You know, the sort of folks that people want to know or to be like, maybe even be someday. But you know, they were all too busy. They were all too busy being busy. They were too busy being important and managing their affairs to take the time to come to the party that seemed so frivolous and irrelevant to them in their lives. So what did the man do? You've heard this story before. I really do read it quite frequently. Did he run after them? No. Right? You were listening. Did he not run after them? Did he say, well, you know, maybe I can reschedule the party. Maybe we can have it on Thursday afternoon. Would that work for you? He didn't do that either. Instead, what he did was go and throw open his doors to everyone else. And he invited them in too. And some of them accepted that invitation. Church is, or should be, like that. The commonwealth of heaven, or if you prefer, the kingdom of God, which is what Jesus is trying to explain in all these parables, is like that. And if our spirits draw us to explore our faith or our lack thereof, or our doubts, or our lack thereof, we know to come here to the Eliot Church. We come to the Eliot Church where we are invited, where we are welcome. Because the church is more accessible than a minor league ballpark with a weeknight promotion. This isn't Fenway Park, is it? This isn't Foxborough Stadium. We don't charge admission. Everyone can pay the price to be here. all people can come here and join us on this journey if they wish. A journey that I assure you is more exciting than 33 innings of baseball. At least I hope it is. And it is more life-changing than the Super Bowl. Again, I hope. So now we're going to end with a moment of silence to think about that question. The question of why we keep playing and why we stay.